All right, today's the last day of August, and last video you saw me, my wife and my kid and my son, uh, put the wings actually on the airplane, and we got that part done. And in this video, we end up rigging the wings to the airplane this time. And initially I was going to use outside help. Herman with Wheels and Wings, a couple hours up the road, he was going to come down and help me with this part. And it's kind of funny because I would prep as much as possible for him to come down, so we would minimize the time he's down here. And each time I prep something, I was like, well, let's see what the next step is I need to do. And I end up doing that step as well, and then the next step, and then the next step, and lo and behold, I'm done rigging the wings. So it was kind of funny how that worked out. Unfortunately, I have to call him and tell him that I may not need his assistance now, but that wasn't my intentions. I sincerely apologize. Got the wings ready for rigging, and what that entailed was started out by cutting out a little panel on the aft inboard side of the wing. And what this did was it gave me two things, actually. It gave a place so I could route my fuel lines and my wires, my electrical wires for my nav lights and strobe lights and my fuel tubing. It gave me access to, so I can do that. And also it gave me access to that rear spar. And if you remember, the rear spar is the one that's not drilled for you already. The front spar is already pre-drilled. You just stick a bolt in there when you're setting the wings on. So that gave me access to that, and actually I was able to drill the rear spar holes in situ. I didn't have to actually remove the wings to do this. I went ahead and made sure the left and right wing tip was somewhat 90 degrees to the fuselage. And I say somewhat because after I was going to do this part, I went to the forums first, Zenith forums online, and did a quick search, make sure there wasn't any gotchas I should look out for, and there was actually. The rear spar attachment to the fuselage, if you make it 90 degrees, there was some concern that you don't have enough beef on that rear spar that for edge distance when time you drill your 3/8 inch hole. And they said plan on that your wings being swept back very little. I mean, it's such a small amount that you can't really notice it just by looking at it. And I just made sure my wing spars were actually close as I could get them to the fuselage before drilling the holes, and made sure I marked the there actually I found a rivet on the tail of the airplane that was center of the fuselage. I took a string at first, going from the left wingtip into the right wingtip, and then I use a measuring tape from the left to the right. And I guess that variance from one wingtip to the middle of the fuselage to the other wingtip to the middle of the fuselage, the variance can be plus or minus, well, I guess 50 millimeters, and that's almost like 2 inches, which is quite a variance. And the other thing was a wing incidence. And I think that's pretty much set for you for the most part based on the steel cage. I have a couple things I'd like to show. First is the incidence, the wing incidence, the wing going this direction. It's sort of preset by this weldment here. You can tell my front spar, my wing, has that little elephant ear, and it goes in between this weldment here. And this weldment is kind of tilted a little bit, angled up. That kind of sets, and that's already pre-drilled, so that's kind of set from the factory already. You do have to manipulate the aft wing spar a little bit. That little tab there is kind of angled +3 positive, creating a little a naturally positive wing incidence. So, but you can, there's a small movements up and down on the rear spar you can do before you drill it. So you check to make sure your left and right wing, the incidence is really close to each other, or pretty much right on. Mine ended up being right on to each other, really close to 3 degrees on each wing before I drilled the rear spar. And then from there, you have to lift each wing tip up, and then you put a string from one wing tip going down the wing around the main spar or rivet line, to the other wingtip on the other wing, and then you start raising each wingtip up, and that string will elevate around the center of the fuselage. And there's a landmark in the plans showing you, I think it's like 85 millimeters up from the first rib on both wings, and that's where that string needs to be, and plus or minus 5, and that gives you the correct dihedral. And so I did that several times. In fact, I did all these steps several times before I actually drilled my rear spar. You could drill your rear spar before you do the dihedral, I believe, but I went ahead and did it kind of all at once, and then I drilled my holes for my rear spar. And like I said, I did that in situ. It worked out wonderful. Other than one of the gotchas on drilling the rear spar was the left rear spar. I had clamped it in place where I wanted it, and when I drilled my hole, I'd placed that clamp on the front end a little too close to my hole. And long story short, what that did is that at the end, my drill bit kind of stopped moving forward a little bit, because I think it was barely touching the edge of that front clamp, and it tilted. It made the drill bit go left just a little bit. Long story short, kind of wallowed out the hole. Not bad, but enough. And I was done drilling it. There was just enough play in that bolt that I wasn't happy with it. And I thought about this for a long time, consulted with some people, and the best solution we came up with, the simplest fix, was to clamp it in a different spot. I mean, just clamp it so I don't. What I'm gonna do is I end up drilling the that rear spar by 1 bolt size. And right now it's a solid fit, no play in it at all. It's wonderful. So I think that was a great fix for that. Next will be time for the wing struts, and that's what I did after that. Went ahead, and there's these inner fittings that go on the inside the wing spar, or inside the wing strut, and that attaches to the wing bracket there. And so I marked the center line on those. Measured on the wing strut itself. There was a little excessive wing strut that they give you, because you have to cut that wing strut down to match the dihedral for each individual wing. Each airplane may be slightly different than another airplane of a similar design. So you have to cut that down. So I took that back home at the house and cut the wing. After I marked it here at the hangar, I went ahead and cut it with my bandsaw. Did that on both wing struts. Came back out here, fit the attachment up there, see what I need to do next. And then what I realized probably the best next step would be to drill 2 small holes in the bottom of my wing strut first. And I did that on each wing strut. Put my little inner fitting, is what I'm calling it, inside the wing strut, bolted up to the wing. Look for my center line on that wing strut fitting, the inner fitting there, and then drill 2 holes, clamp it, cleco it, try not to move it, take it back off, and then drill those 3 holes for that inner wing fitting. And I did all that at the house. Now I'm back out here last day of August. We're gonna see if that fits, and you'll know here toward the end of this video whether that ends up working out or not. Anyway, that's it for now. Let's hope everything works out well. Peace. Okay, moment of truth. Will my wing struts hold up the wings? I'm gonna take away the little supports on each side, and we'll see kind of what happens. Okay, we're not touching anymore. Wing struts are providing all the support right now, and we're at 85 millimeters on that string there. And pretty much on that one there is kind of crooked, but anyway, no more jack stand supports, and wings incidence came out just perfect for each other, and the dihedral with my my degree finder here worked out just right. They were both even as well, so that's a success.